So I love this episode. It's a random one. We haven't done one just us in a while. It's been us interviewing people, which is great, but believe me, we love to get on our mics ourselves. So just a little recap on this episode. We talked about traveling with weed internationally versus domestic, and what you should bring in checked versus carry-on bags. Our coming up interviews that we have, CBD, we have hemp versus cannabis, full spectrum, industrial versus medicinal. We talked about our trip home back to Florida. We talked about how to make a tincture, what is a tincture. We also talked about Massachusetts and the new revenue they're seeing and how California is not seeing their expected numbers. We talked about packaging compliance, solvent. We talked a lot about dabs. I think the first quarter of this episode was about extracts and stuff like that, which is really cool. A lot of people, especially I know Ray, gets a ton of questions about this, so it's pretty cool to get the facts straight for people to look back and be able to, you can reference this episode and stuff. So we talked about solvent-free versus solventless, all the different kinds of extracts, what's the newest stuff out. I think the last thing, which would be 420 Fitness Challenge by Stigma, and then the Space Coyote.
Some love and some indica, love and some indica. I should be a singer.
Should you?
Only in the shower.
Yeah, I hear you.
La la la. Okay. So, I think I'm gonna hit it on green.
Okay, cool.
Are you gonna smell?
Not right now. At the end, though.
Okay.
For the grand finale. Da-da-da-da-da. So what modes are there? It's just different temperatures?
Well, you might hear it now. I just double clicked it. So the PuffCo Peak, if you don't already know about it, look up PuffCo on Instagram. They have various products. The Peak is my favorite, and it is this portable dab rig. So essentially, all you do is charge it.
Okay.
It goes through about 30 heat cycles before it dies. And it basically just gets you to the perfect temperature. You just heard it vibrate, so it's ready to hit. Excuse me. But yeah, it's pretty cool because, you know, a lot of people have started more low temp dabbing, where when dabbing first started out, you know, people didn't really know how to master it yet. It was a lot of high temp dabs, and you'd see people doing huge gram dabs and coughing up a lung. And now it's gotten a lot more to very clean products in low temp. So the cool thing about the PuffCo Peak is it's pretty much all automated. So all you do is turn it on, you double click it to initiate the heat cycle. And there's 4 different temperatures. So the lowest is blue, then green, then red, then white.
Okay.
And typically if you're smoking a rosin.
White being the hottest?
White being the hottest.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact temperatures. I should probably know that. But I normally am dabbing on blue or green because I like the terps and the taste more than maximum vapor.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it also just depends on what you're dabbing.
So you kind of get more of a high because it's burning at a higher temperature if you do it at, like, let's say white or red. But if you do it at blue or green, it's kind of more tasty. The high isn't so, like, euphoric. But
well, it doesn't smack you in the face as hard.
Okay.
Because you know how sometimes people will say, like, oh, they take a big rip and then they cough really hard and they're like, oh, I feel like I'm higher because I was coughing.
Right.
It's like essentially the same concept.
Bro science, but I kind of believe it. And let me tell you a little science behind that. Because in the cilia in your lungs, which are like little hairs pretty much, if you agitate them or cough, it kind of shakes them around. So if there's like little THC molecules of smoke in your lungs, and there's only so much molecules, but there's like millions of cilia, millions of receptor sites. If you kind of shake them around, you kind of agitate it, and it goes more, like, it covers a bigger surface area. That's my bro science. That is totally not proven, by the way.
Oh,
that's just a theory in my head.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But I do, like, honestly, if I even try to cough, like, I feel like I get a little bit higher.
I kind of sometimes, like, I don't know if you just saw me doing it. I, like, hold back my cough. I'm like,
I mean,
try to let my lungs, like, reinflate with normal air.
That's funny.
Like,
that's funny. Like, I have it down to a science to where when I hit a bong, especially, that I have like a point at which I know I won't cough. So I'll get to like that maximum point. But if I pull a second longer or a second harder, I'm going to be, but yeah, I kind of know like my limit.
Well, and I'm totally the type when smoking a bong, I'll like corner the bowl as opposed to just rip the whole bowl to my face. So.
Yeah, exactly. Same. Even though, I mean, no, I couldn't even honestly do a whole bowl to the face. I would die. I would cough like crazy.
Well, it's funny because, I mean, everybody knows this. When you are smoking similar things all the time, you get used to it. It's like with anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I could take a fat dab, but then I go to, like, rip a whole bowl out of a bong and it'll, like...
send you to the moon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if, like, you do edibles all the time and then you try smoking... it's like a whole different experience. It's so cool. It's so nice.
And that's what's interesting too, is like with the edible thing, like I used to feel like I could eat 10 and I would feel it. And now, like you're saying, my tolerance is up. So
yeah, definitely. And that's, I would say that's one downside to the Peak. Well, it's a beautiful thing. It's the best thing is that it's convenient and it's portable and you can do it right then and there and you don't have to heat up a nail and you don't have to carry 4 freaking things to the beach to do dabs. You just bring that and your product and that's it.
Yep.
So it's damn, you can sit there and do it all. You can do 30 dabs in 30 minutes.
Well, and the biggest differentiator for PuffCo, and we'll get Roger on the podcast and he would love that I'm saying this right now, but the greatest thing about them and their products is the consistency. And that's what a lot of cannabis companies are doing now too. You know, we've heard this from Kaliva from day one. We want to have a consistent product because that's what customers are looking for. I mean, you see the same thing in like the food industry. But that's one of the great things, like I'm saying, is the consistency. So with it not only being easy, I'm getting the same dab experience as you are, you know, and that's may be a veteran dabber and you may be a new dabber.
Wow, never thought of it like that. That's very true.
And so, you know, they really do say we turn consumers into connoisseurs because it really does create that perfect experience. You're getting all the taste, the perfect heat.
And it's so simple.
Simple.
That's why Apple's killing it. It's just like that simple process. It allows you to not have somebody that's a stoner in your household to be able to do this. You read the instructions or you watch a few videos and you already know how to do it. That's pretty cool.
Well, what I like too is it just seems like it is starting to break down that stigma too, because I mean, you would even admit that you used to be kind of like put off by dabbing. You're like, ooh, that's kind of like crackhead, very like torch and ooh, and scary.
Right. I mean, especially at first when I first began to see it, I was like, what the fuck is that? Like it really is like similar. If you never have smoked marijuana and you saw that on the street, you would think someone's heating up like a little meth pipe.
Right.
Or something. You have no idea. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the coolest thing out. I mean, that's cooler to hit than a bong. It looks like, what the fuck? What are you doing? It's really cool. The PuffCo is killing it. And we actually saw the CEO of PuffCo at Emerald Cup, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. We smoked with him. Ray actually got free product by him. Like, it was a really cool guy. So we're going to have him on the podcast soon. Pretty excited about it.
Yeah, he's awesome. The other good thing too just about the Peak is being able to kind of experiment a little bit more with your dabbing. And like I said, I've always been very into the live resin or the sauce and the diamonds. That's kind of what I had been on lately. Mm-hmm. Well, now I'm going more back to like rosins and water hash and learning a little bit more about different extraction processes, more in depth than I already knew.
So I want to know about all those. I don't know. Tell me what rosin is. What's the difference between water hash, rosin, all that?
Yeah, so what I've been experimenting with to begin with when I first started dabbing was more shatter. That's typically what people are seeing.
Okay.
You know, you'll see the pictures all over Instagram where it's a big slab of glass-looking oil. It's clear. So it's been interesting too to follow the industry when, you know, you would even look at really great brands. The top concentrate brands used to still have a darker, blacker looking oil. And now that the industry has gotten so much cleaner, this is why I've just loved experimenting more with dabs. Because I know that if it's being sold at the dispensary, it's pretty healthy at this point. I mean,
I would agree.
Healthier than cigarettes, healthier than alcohol, healthier than a lot of the other medicines you get prescribed. So first was shatter, then I started moving into more of crumbles. And
what is the consistency? So for someone that doesn't know, I know of this, but I want other people to know. So what is that consistency?
So crumble is, you know, shatter, like I'm saying, is glass. Like you're going to...
Which is your most common.
Most commonly known, I would say, yes.
Okay.
Like when you think of dabs, that's probably what you think of in your head.
Gotcha.
And shatter is kind of self-explanatory. It literally shatters when you break it. It's more like a glass consistency. Hard, will crack.
Okay.
Crumble is more like it sounds, a little more crumbly. So picture like a soft chocolate chip cookie.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Chocolate chip cookie crumbles.
And it starts to crumble. That's what it looks like.
You got a couple-day-old cookie. Yep. And then you check the back at the end of it. It's all crumbly. Yeah.
So it's not glassy. It's more, the actual oil is more moist.
Okay.
And then, you start to move into batters, which are very similar to crumble, but a little more liquidy.
Okay.
So again, think of a like cake batter.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And then that's when you're getting more into like the sauces, which it's funny because all of these like consistencies are pretty spot on with the name.
Mm-hmm.
So then you think of sauce, that's going to be very liquidy. It's a lot of like HTE, what they call high terpene extracts.
Okay.
So that's going to be, the sauces are going to have a lot more flavor. Then you have diamonds where it looks more like a rock, like a literal diamond. And that's going to be more of a distillate type product because the diamonds are so refined. They have some of the highest THC content out of all of these things listed. So they actually look more clear, like an actual diamond.
Wow.
And then when you're moving more into like the diamond sauces and live resins, that's where it's diamondy, kind of more rock candy. So it's not a huge diamond.
This is a live resin you're describing.
Live resins and more of like sauces, yeah.
Okay.
Are going to be the diamonds essentially broken down, but with more of the terpenes.
Okay.
And things like that. And then, the live resin, that's more of a, how would I even describe that? Because it does look very sparkly and crystally. But it is more like pliable. So when you're picking it up on your dabber, it's not like a sauce where it's going to be, creating a line behind it or carrying on.
You know what it looks like to me?
It's pliable.
It looks like freshly fallen snow on the ground. How it like sparkles, and it's kind of like you can kind of maneuver it around real nice and easy, or you can kind of like pack it together. But it's a little pliable, but it can be runny like if you let it. But it kind of it reminds me of like a sunny day with the sun hitting snow, and it's like sparkly and
it is what it looks like,
poofy kind of. But
and then now I'm experimenting more with the rosins, which is when you see the videos of people taking flour and pressing it with heat plates. Mm-hmm. You've probably even seen DIY videos of make your own rosin with a hair straightener. Mm-hmm. Same concept. So that's what rosin is if you think of squeezing the flour like that and it literally extracting all of the super sticky the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. All the cannabinoids and all that.
That's rosin.
Gotcha.
So that's more, I would say a good rosin is going to be like a Play-Doh to where it's that consistency, but you can still like roll it up in your finger into a ball and it's not going to stick to your fingers like some of those other consistencies would. Okay.
Oh, yeah, big time. For sure.
Which is pretty cool.
What does a bad rosin look like?
A what?
A bad rosin, like just a poorly done.
Well, poorly done, I mean, it would probably still have some plant matter in it.
And it would look like brown.
And it would, look more brown. And then, I mean, there was one more I was going to mention, not rosin.
Water hash.
Water hash, you're right. So because I had started experimenting with water hash, and it was interesting because I opened the jar and it looks more sandy. Or like, the THCA crystal, when they say crystalline, that's what it looks like. Very fine, sandy. But then I'm sticking my dabber in the water hash and it's like hard.
Interesting.
So I'm like, it looks like you can scrape it up like sand, but it's not like that. So you almost,
it's like quicksand.
You almost have to like pluck, like pop it off almost
like just a little quick, swift action.
Yeah. You have to like pull,
as
get
if
your
it was
dab.
shatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your dab. But then what I didn't even know, which I dab, I should know this. You have to press the water ash. So what you do is you'll get your chunk, you lay it on a piece of parchment paper, and then you actually press it with your finger, like flatten it. And it's what they call flagging out. Like they're flagging out the dab. So then, like I'm saying, it's a glob when you take it out, you press it flat, and that's what it looks like, almost like a flag,
Okay.
flat shape. And then that's how you would dab it.
Interesting. Do you have to do that? What does that do?
Well, I'm pretty sure you can smoke just water hash like on top of a bowl if you wanted, but if you're dabbing it, yeah, you should.
Okay, gotcha. So,
Because think of the traditional hash. I mean, you've seen hash. That's what it looks like. Sandy, but more brown and black colored.
yeah, it kind of looks dirty almost.
But so within all of these consistencies, it also gets complicated with how they're making it and what solvents they're using. And when I say solvents, I'm talking about butane. So when they say like shatter, that's also known as BHO, butane hash oil.
Okay.
Butane is what the solvent that they're using. So they'll take the flour, shove it in a glass tube, and then they'll run butane liquid through the tube, which the liquid pulls all of the good stuff off the flour, and then they get their own liquid from that, and then they extract the butane out because you don't want to smoke that.
Gotcha.
So they have to heat. That's a heating process to remove the butane.
And by that, there's a lot of regulations in California that test parts per million.
Right.
Like, and now California's trying to pass parts per billion, which some testers can't even test that high. They're crazy.
Well, so what's interesting with that is like, yeah, they're using solvents, but then when you get really minute with the rosins and the water hash, you can go solventless.
Okay.
So that's a term that people are using a lot now, is solventless and solvent free.
Okay.
And if you're a consumer, you would think, I mean, if you don't know that
sounds
those
like
two
the
exist,
same.
it just sounds similar.
They sound the same. Yeah. So tell me, what is the
Well,
difference?
solvent free means that they're using solvents, but they took the solvent out. So there's no longer a solvent. Like, so
Okay.
for instance, when they're making water hash, they would have their fresh flower that they trim right off the plant when they trim it off the plant like we would in the garden, but they normally stick it right in the freezer.
Called fresh frozen.
Fresh frozen. So then they run water instead of the butane to remove all the good stuff. And then they take the water out.
That's so cool.
But technically water is a solvent.
That's funny, huh?
Which it's not bad for you necessarily, but
You don't want to smoke it. Yeah.
solventless is all mechanically extracted, so they don't use any solvents at all.
I still want to go visit one of these places that does this because I want to see it. Like, how do they
scientific.
mechanically extract it? Like, I even go and get like coconut oil from the store, and it's like, it's this extracted or that extract. Like, how the fuck do they do that? Like, that's super cool.
Well, and like how you're saying, I mean, some of the best concentrates are for sure here. The cleanest, the best, most refined.
I was gonna say you were talking so in depth about this, and I was like, holy crap! I just had a moment. I was like, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, none of this was around. None of this, nothing. Like, you look 10 years ago, and if you got like golden shatter, that's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
That's like God right there. And usually, I mean, it's so crazy how far we've come in such a short amount of time. It's wild. It's only going to get better, obviously, but it's so crazy.
Well, the great thing I just think about dabbing is you really can turn it into a science and really narrow down the flavors and stuff, which, yeah, you can never replace flour. You know, that's always going to have a special place in people's heart, but dabs are just a whole new experience.
Definitely. And it's getting, more and more refined to where I think eventually they're going to be able to extract these 3 terpenes and this cannabinoid or THC or whatever.
Do.
Yeah. And be like, hey, this is exactly the high you will most likely get. Everyone reacts different, obviously, but this is, they're really trying to get it down to like the extreme sciences to it, which I love. It's cool.
Well, so remember when we were recording our episode with Stigma and Nicole was talking about dabbing cannabis, sweetie, and she was saying, oh, my night dabbing routine is I do this and Delta 9. And I said, what is Delta 9?
I remember that. Yep.
So same concept. That's something that they're singling out of the plant.
That's more of a...
which, like, I didn't even know what that was. I was like, huh?
Yeah, it's more of a sleeping agent, correct?
I don't remember what it does, but like we're saying, you know, you can extract the THCA, you can extract the CBD, you can extract the terps. It's
CBN, CBG, yeah, all that. Yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, and it's only going to get better for sure. So, but sometimes, I mean, some of the best things are when humans don't fucking mess with it, aka the plant. So,
I'm
hit it.
Gonna take another dab and sip this kombucha.
There we go.
Is that how you say it?
I say it different every time, but I think it's kombucha. Kombucha. Yeah, man.
It's
So
funny too because like when we went home, I don't even think that does Florida have kombucha?
I put my parents on it and they were like jazzed. They love it. They love it now. It's so funny. The West Coast is 10 years ahead of the East Coast, I swear, on almost everything. They are just farther ahead in so many ways.
That.
Yeah. I feel like I go back in time when I go to Florida, which, by the way, I had a great experience at home with my family and stuff like that. It was amazing. It was a long time to be back for sure, but I had a really good time. And it was crazy that I was able to show and tell my grandparents and basically all my family what I do. And this is my first time ever telling everyone in my family, besides like my little brother and sisters, that I smoke cannabis and I have a job in the industry and stuff like that. And and I told them all about the podcast and stuff, and it's wild. It's crazy, first off, how accepting they were. It's definitely just become the point to where you see it so much on media that it is kind of normalized. No, I wouldn't smoke it in front of them or anything like that. It's not that normal, but they were just A-okay. They know that, hey, if I were to get down in the shit and got fired or just something happened, my ambition and my character is going to bring me up. I'm going to get out of it. I'll be okay. But it was just cool to kind of tell my cousins and my uncle and my grandpa and grandma all about cannabis.
Grandma. I was going to say the funny thing is that I think the only thing they still worry about is like drug testing.
Yeah, I guess. And I think they still have the stigma in their head that if you smoke weed, you're lazy. 100%. And I just have to reassure them. And obviously I'm going to reassure them with my life achievements, but I reassure them verbally that, hey, that's not the case. Mm-hmm. That is not the case. So it was just a really cool time.
And fun fact, Austin's dad lived in Santa Cruz, so.
And uncle.
So let's just say, like, there is some chance that he probably most likely has smoked before.
Oh,
yeah. So.
Yeah, definitely. So that is the case. And
But of course, it's always just nerve-wracking.
It comes full circle. It's wild. It's just freaking wild, man, that I'm like coaching and teaching my parents about something that was so big back in the 80s and 90s, you know? That I don't know, that whole movement especially. It was just just a whole different ordeal.
I was going to say, speaking of parents, my mom was sitting here telling me a story about her first time smoking weed. And of course, the whole trip I'm home, she's like drinking, you know, it's the holidays and stuff. So we're all drinking at night, playing games, singing karaoke. Mm-hmm. And it had just come out. She said on her middle school Washington, D.C. trip, which was hilarious because she said all the teachers found out and then they were coming up to our room to look for it. And it was hilarious how she mentioned the first and last names of the two people who did it. Like, she still had never forgotten, like Billy Bob and Joe Bob. Like, oh my God. It was their
ratting
weed.
Them out. Dang.
And then she's like, we hid it in the ceiling tile.
That's hilarious.
And no one ever found it, but they still called my parents. So I was surprised too with how open my parents were to talking about it, at least.
I think once you get out of the house and you are doing yourself in the real world, and we're older now, we're not 19, like it's different. Like, we're not fresh out of high school and all this kind of stuff. They understand that we can basically do whatever we want, and as long as we're happy and successful, I think they're A-okay. I think most parents at that level, they totally understand. So,
well, tell us what you showed your parents. Was there anything that you showed them when you were at home?
Good question. I did. So I brought a few things, which one of them being 1-to-1 flower. So that's 1-to-1 ratio THC to CBD.
That was Flocana?
Flocana, yes. And that's just good because if they were to smoke flower, they wouldn't get too high, but they would feel the CBD effects of just the sense of well-being being improved, and the CBD masking the psychoactivity of the THC. So it's not going to get them out of this world, but it's still going to be a really nice, enjoyable time and experience. Another thing is the THC salve that you made, which in a few episodes ago, Ray told us how to make that, which is really cool. The salve being that it doesn't smell like weed. It doesn't look like it. You have no idea. It just looks like some icy hot that you're rubbing on. It kind of smells like it too from the eucalyptus. But it's really nice because if you have achy knees or achy joints, wrists, what have you, you can put it on real quick and boom, the pain's gone. Now, yes, this to me, let me play devil's advocate and saying that that's a band-aid, because the bigger problem is, hey, why are you aching? Like there's a reason for that. But that's a really cool product I brought back. And there's one more thing, CBD coconut oil. Being full, it was full CBD, it's hemp derived, and it's just something that they could either A, cook with, B, put in their coffee or tea, or C, just eat straight up. So and it's something that is also doesn't look or smell like cannabis. So
how did they respond to that? Were they like, I mean, did they have specific questions you remember? How did that conversation go? I mean,
well,
they didn't smoke it with you, that you just gave it to them, or like what was the deal with the flower?
No, I wish that I left it with them, but I wish they smoked it with me. It never was that time. There was never that opportunity. But some of the questions, like, let's see, I got a ton of questions. I did.
I mean, it's good that you were showing them, because you probably kind of had thought already about what questions they had.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff. There's just like, they didn't know what THC or CBD was, and just coaching them on that and telling them that there is different strains and all this kind of stuff, and there's different products. It's not just flower anymore, and the legality of it across state to state, federally, all this kind of stuff. I mean, medical versus recreational, all the basics had to be explained and start from scratch. So it was pretty cool. It really tested my knowledge and how to translate it, because I have so much knowledge, but it's different when you have the knowledge.
It's like where to start.
Yeah, but it's also different from how do you lay it all on them without them like being too overloaded. So, but it was really good. But definitely those 3 products I recommend for any beginner or introducing. Oh, also what I made was a tincture, which I want to give to them next time I'm there, or mail it to them. But how to make that, let me tell you how to make that real quick, if you don't mind. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say the few things that I brought home, because like you, I mean, I had the similar plan. I'm like, I'm going to bring some stuff home for my parents to show them. So I had brought the Absolute Extracts capsules, edible capsules.
Okay.
So those really came in handy. My dad has really bad back problems, so he actually is prescribed opiates.
Gotcha. It's a little pill, right? This is what you're talking about, this capsule?
Yes.
Okay.
So
and it's clear?
Yep. So that was great for him. Honestly, it was a 25 milligrams. Boom. He felt like, because normally he is laying in bed a lot of the day, or he's just in a lot of pain. So this was so cool, because he was like actually up and hanging out and was in a good mood. Like when you're in that much pain, especially on those kind of drugs, it's like not good.
Yeah. Jeez.
So that was really awesome. And it was funny because I also had 100 milligram capsules.
Wow.
And I was like, I want you to just try this one to see. And he was like, I was at your grandma's house and everyone's in the kitchen. I just look at the TV and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's like, I am high as shit.
No.
So he was fine, like, because my dad's big, so.
But that's hilarious.
That was really, I was cracking up at that. So that was enjoyable. I also brought back Raw Garden makes a CBD live resin.
Okay.
So I brought back some of that. The strain was cherry wine. So it almost tasted like a candy. It was really good. And I had brought the Peak back. So I brought those dabs. I brought Nug chocolate bars. So those were really good as well, because you can't taste the cannabis in the edible. And then of course I brought back like my own personal stuff, but I would say those are the few.
Okay. There we go.
That I would recommend.
Yeah. Now, did your mom try anything or no?
Did she? I feel like she did. I don't really remember. Maybe not.
I also brought one more product home that I just thought about.
What?
Which was a hemp derived tincture, and I gave it to Allie, our dog.
Aww.
And it was crazy as well, because just like your dad, I mean, she was up and moving, and she's she's always in my mom's bathroom because it's a cold tile floor, and she's chilling for like 90% of the day. It's a big dog. We're talking a 196-pound English Mastiff, and she's just achy joints and hips, and only goes out to eat and pee and do her thing and whatnot. So I gave her some tincture, and I put on a little bit of bread, and sure enough, she was out in the living room like shaking her whole butt and her tail and like hanging out with us for a couple hours. And I did this for 3 days, night and day. I gave her 2 dropperfuls, so I gave her roughly around like 50 milligrams each serving. And yeah, she was night and day difference. I mean, she acted like she was 5-6 years old, not like 8 or 9. So it was really cool to see. And I'm speaking of tincture, I also made some here, just seeing that honestly all my family could use it 100%.
Which I mean, obviously the magical butter machine is super helpful, but
so yeah, so that's all I know is the magical butter machine. I can kind of tell you the old fashioned or original way, but let me tell you. So first off, a tincture is basically an alcohol infused cannabis drink or medicinal, you know what I'm talking about?
It's like a small medicine dropper, and it's literally infused alcohol.
Yeah, it's very small. It's not like a big old drink. You're not taking
concentrated.
Chugs. Very concentrated. Yep. And so, first off, how to make a tincture is you want to decarboxylate the cannabis. So you put in the oven for 250 for 30 minutes, and there's different amounts for different cups or however much you want to do. I personally did 4 ounces of forbidden fruit from our last harvest, and it was all trim. And I used 5 cups of 190 proof grain alcohol into the magical butter machine. So I put the grain alcohol, cannabis, decarboxylated. It's already been in the oven. Boom. I just put the lid on the magical butter machine for 130 degrees Fahrenheit. And for 8 hours, you can do it for 4, but 8 hours is stronger aroma, stronger flavor, more intense. So I did it for 8 hours. 8 hours was up. I pour the liquid into a little mesh strainer bag, strain out all the herb, and you're left with just a really dark green alcohol liquid. And you put that in the little medicine droppers, and voila, you have a full spectrum, full plant, beautiful, just nicely concentrated oil. It's beautiful. It's really good for people that are first time triers and beginners. So, and even honestly, a lot of older people, that's all they do is they do tinctures.
Ooh,
they don't.
Boy, that shit burnt the hairs off my nose. Like, yeah, it is strong.
Yeah, the alcohol smell. So because we have it right now in a mason jar, about to separate it into little dropper jars. But yeah, you smell it, like you take a whiff, and whoo, that alcohol rips your nose up. Woo-hoo. That's for sure. So I haven't even tried it yet. I'm very excited to try it, but it's an indica.
You're gonna try it? You don't even really like fuck with edibles that much.
Well, I don't think it's gonna do a lot, like too much, but we'll see.
Bruh.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited.
I just think, like, looking at a mason jar full, to think that 4 ounces of weed is concentrated into that small of a jar, and you're going, oh, I don't really know. Like,
you're right. You're 100%
especially
right.
for you, because, like, I mean, I'll try it with you, duh.
Okay, cool. And I'm gonna make sure, like, I don't smoke all day. It's gonna be experimenting
for sure.
Yeah. And so the next batch I want to do Harley Sue, which is a CBD dominant.
Ooh.
Like, I forget, like 20 to 1 or something.
It's Sour Tsunami and Harley Quinn.
Correct. I just forget the ratio, but yeah, it's a very high CBD. So
he said correct. Let me just check the files.
Yeah, I was checking my brain files. Yep. Correct. Harley Sue.
I don't know why I've always been so interested in, like, the strains and crossings.
Oh, I love
and where
it too.
they come from and the families. And
that's why I don't want to go to Denver, because all they have is freaking no classic strains. It's all made up ridiculous stuff. That's true. Like, I want, like,
what are the classic strains out there that they actually, like, cross with? I mean, I don't know. But that's interesting.
It's way too cross now. It's like, I like the OG shit. The fucking cookies, the Blue Dream, the Sour Diesel, the Granddaddy Perp. Mm-hmm. I haven't had Granddaddy Perp in so long. That shit is the best sleep aid. I love it.
Yeah, you're right.
I love it.
What else? Oh, well, just speaking of going to Florida and, like, what we brought as far as traveling with weed, mm-hmm. We just wanted to talk a little bit about that, because I mean, obviously, we feel more confident about it living in California because there actually are published news articles about TSA in California and airports not caring about you traveling with that.
They do not. In California, they do not check for cannabis. Don't have a freaking whole bag of like an ounce on you and it's
Like,
reek in the
smelling
airport.
loud.
They're not going to have that. No. Be smart about it. Having a sealable container. Make sure it's not a lot. But honestly, if you're flying out of California, you're good to go.
You're pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people still trip. I mean, a lot of people worry about it. Even like the vape cartridges, that looks like nicotine. You're good. Go. We're not giving you the liability. This is ongoing on the tape. Yes, we're telling you that this is okay, but we're not going to recommend it.
Right.
But believe me, they do not check for that.
Yeah.
It looks like snacks or organic material going through the scanner.
Well, and the thing is, too, is because people often ask me, well, where do you put it? And that's the biggest thing is you do want to be discreet about it. I mean, what I compare it to is think of the people that are traveling from Europe that are smuggling really fancy bottles of wine back in their checked bag. I mean, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to bring, people bring stuff. You're not, fake handbags and whatever else. So,
right.
I mean, this isn't medicine, people. So, I'm just saying that like I'll normally pack my flour, and if I have any kind of like liquids, because sometimes I've wanted the cannabis drinks or edibles, I'll typically put those in my checked bag.
Okay.
But you're not allowed to put any batteries below the plane because it's not pressurized and it's cold as shit down there. So I always bring my vape batteries and my vape cartridges in my carry-on.
Good tip. Did not know that.
If I want to have one edible on the plane, like while I'm on the plane, I might put an edible in my bag, but they still through TSA make you take your food out and put it in a separate bin to go through.
Tell us your recent experience about that.
So you want to be a little careful with that.
Tell us about your nug bar.
And then, I brought my dabs in my carry-on too. But yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I didn't want to fly back to California leaving Florida with anything because it's still, pretty illegal in Florida. It's medicinal, but it's hard to get your med card. Yeah. So
ridiculous.
I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll be safe with one nug chocolate bar. It's 80 milligrams dark chocolate bar.
Okay.
And my mom had given me before I left a bag of the like individual Ghirardelli chocolates. So I thought, let me put the nug bar inside of the Ghirardelli bag and I'll just fold the Ghirardelli bag closed. There were enough individual chocolates in there that it looked like it was just the bag of chocolate.
Okay, smart.
As it went through, because I had to take my food out and separate them in its own bin, I am witnessing the TSA dude rescan my thing, pick up the bag of Ghirardelli chocolates, open the bag, pull the nug bar out, look at it. It says nug bar, California, warning, weed symbol, cannabis infused dark chocolate, blah, blah, blah. He literally looks at it and then just puts it back in the bin and lets it go through.
Wow.
And I had a mini heart attack. And for some reason, I thought that I heard on the loudspeakers, like, we need DEA or whatever, like, to the fucking thing. Like, I was just tripping so hard in those 5 seconds. I was like, I'm done. I'm fucking done. And then the guy's like, I don't even care. Like, if I was him, I would have at least kept it because I'd be like, I'm going to eat this.
Yeah.
Which that's honestly the biggest risk you have, especially if it's a little amount, is I always think worst case scenario. I mean, the airport people are going to take it.
Yeah.
Because think about like the government shutdown. I mean, all these TSA people are going to work and they're not even getting paid.
No, not me.
Like if I work for TSA, I mean, you either take your job dead serious or you don't. You know what I mean? So like you're going to take the weed for yourself or you're going to call your supervisor.
Yeah.
And most people are just like pretty chill. I mean, you're not hurting anybody, so.
And speaking of that, what about the drug dogs?
Oh, well, I had read on the internet recently, and this was not a new article. This was back in like 2015. They're saying police no longer train dogs to sniff out marijuana. Because it's, I mean,
this is just in airports or like
I don't remember. I mean, and I could probably Google it again. I mean, there's articles about it, but it was saying that they don't train the canines anymore to like bark or like go off on cannabis.
Yeah, they're worried about big drugs.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
So I always just tell people, like, I mean, yeah, you want to play it safe for sure. And if you're the type that's paranoid and stuff, like, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like,
Yeah,
I'm just
no,
saying
don't.
it's, I mean, not recommended, but
Right.
personal experience.
Yep, exactly, 100%. And also, I see a lot more people, and I can tell, like, I can usually kind of tell when a vape cartridge is like a cannabis one. Not a lot of people can, but if you're like a super connoisseur, you can. And I see a lot more people in the airport vaping weed, vaping cannabis, like not even in smoke sections.
Yeah, y'all, Austin's, like, literally hitting his vape in the airport, and I'm thinking, you can get arrested. I feel like you can't just smoke in an airport even if it's a vape.
Yeah, you can definitely get in trouble, so I wouldn't recommend it, but
Like,
I've seen
but
I've
he's
seen
over
people.
here, like, literally holding it in, like, not. I'm just like,
You know,
oh my
you gotta,
God.
if you want to be a true pioneer, you gotta test these things out.
Can you think back to the days where they used to be able to smoke cigarettes on a plane?
Ew, what the fuck? I
Like,
would not.
there were no smoking. It was just
No.
like, no one cared. I mean, if you smoke, you just smoke right there. Who cares?
You better give me an oxygen mask, like straight up. Ugh. Oh my
I mean, one of
goodness.
my friends back in Florida has an older car. I forget. I think it's like a Buick or a Cadillac or something. And the back seats have their own personal ashtray.
Yeah, that's.
I'm
G.
like, damn, like, yeah, that's how it was back
Yeah.
in the day. Like,
Yep,
I was like, the blunt mobile. That's what this
For
is
real.
now.
that's freaking hilarious. And also, if you're traveling internationally, highly don't recommend crossing customs with.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, with cannabis.
I have not done that.
That's a whole nother ordeal. So
I would say if I was feeling ballsy, maybe a vape, but that's it.
yeah, but if you're flying out of California, I would think you're good to go. Oh, any other state? Oh, I'm not too sure. So you're gonna have to test it out yourself.
One day we'll all be able to do it.
Yeah, for 100% for sure. It'll just be like bringing on a snack on a plane.
Well, so this is the thing, though. I mean, I would assume you're allowed to bring CBD, especially if it's hemp derived versus.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not necessarily recommending that with travel, but like.
Just because if you're just a normal TSA agent that's never smoked and you saw it, and you're in freaking Louisiana, Florida, whoever, they're like, oh no, not having this. So
I also feel like people can bring like gummy bears on a plane. Like, how are they gonna know if they're infused?
right, you're right. Does it have to be sealed package, or can you just bring
No.
snacks? Yeah, you can't. Now the water you can't, correct? Going into like your security checkpoint.
Correct.
Okay.
You cannot bring a liquid through.
So yeah, you could.
But you can
totally-
empty your water bottle and bring it through and then fill it up when you cross through.
There we go. Yeah, you can Ziploc, all your edibles and just take it out of the original packaging. So, and if you go through with a cartridge, a vape cartridge, say it's freaking nicotine. Like, that's no
I
big deal.
plead the fifth.
For some reason, that's no big deal. I invoke the fifth. And then shut the fuck up. We're going to have the Pop Brothers on. We're going to have them on. Pretty excited about that.
I was just mentioning the CBD thing because I did just want to clarify that a lot of people don't realize that there's hemp CBD, which you've already mentioned in this episode, and cannabis CBD, which hemp is still cannabis. It's in the same family, but it produces very little to no THC.
So, you know what's funny is like, it's almost.
It's what George Washington grew.
Yeah, so it's funny is what's the defining line between hemp and cannabis? And the government says 0.03% THC. So if your hemp test at 1% THC, it is considered cannabis. Yep. So just a little fun fact right there. And another thing is if you can get a hold of cannabis full spectrum, as long as you're not getting drug tested, that is the best type of CBD or tincture or what have you, is going to be cannabis versus hemp, because hemp is, you're not getting all the cannabinoids. We actually talk about it in a previous episode. So it's, and we also go and we delve into industrial versus medicinal hemp.
Yep.
Which is
pretty cool.
Yeah, really cool.
It gets so intricate.
Yeah, it does. And that's like when I talk to people that are like brand new about cannabis, it's very hard because we know so much. We really have to like dumb ourselves down and like simplify it. And sometimes that's hard because you're like throwing out so much facts at them. They're like, whoa, I don't even know what weed looks like. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, full spectrum and cannabis derived CBD is going to be the most beneficial to you. There's just more cannabinoids versus hemp. Now hemp, derived CBD can be shipped across all 50 states. It can be bought in a freaking gas station or any smoke shop. With that being said, me and Ray have already mentioned this. Don't freaking buy your CBD from a random ass smoke shop or gas station or wherever the hell. You want to make sure you're buying good quality stuff that has a certificate of analysis, that has testing done, that actually shows what's in the product. Because believe me, they can say, oh, this has 50 milligrams of CBD. Well, guess what? That might not actually have 50 milligrams in it, and it might only have that. You want all the other cannabinoids too. So there's just, it's, let me try and think of.
You just have to think about, well, I had a kind of perverted comparison. I was just thinking, like, why would you buy your condoms at a sketchy gas station? But, like, I just feel like that with anything. Like, you want to, I don't know. I feel like you want to buy higher quality. You know what I mean? You want to know what you don't want to take that risk with something that you're ingesting like that.
There we go. Honestly, I kind of like your perverted analogy, because let's think of at a nasty ass gas station that there's a shitty condom, the worst condom you can think of, and it's 5 years old. The likelihood that's going to break is 20 times out of 10. I don't know. And then you go to a good gas station with condoms,
or the drugstore where you should go, or wherever.
Yeah, that just got shipped in last week, and they're Trojan, they're the best, or whatever. You would rather have that one. Weird ass analogy, but you know what? It works. I think most people that are over 21 would understand that.
Well, and it's just because that's also like a semi-serious like thing. You know what I mean? Same with like what we put in our bodies and things like that. Like,
would you really want to risk it?
You want to poison yourself with some shit that's in China when we don't? I mean, their regulations are way different. I don't want hemp from there.
I agree. Actually, there has been positive tests for metal in hemp-derived CBD from China. So be very careful.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, be very careful. So that's weird analogy, but I love it. For real, why risk it, you know? So, and it's going to be more expensive, honestly. It will be, but you know what? You're getting good stuff. And in this case, you get what you pay for.
Well, and that's just what I've learned too, because back to dabbing, when I first started dabbing, I was like, oh, big dabs, this and that. Like, I'm going to buy cheap stuff so I can dab all the time. But now I'd rather just buy super high quality and do it every so often because I'm enjoying the high better and it's better for me.
Agreed. I'd rather pay that $5
quality.
More. Yep, quality for sure. It's just, I don't know. I would consume a hell of a lot less if my quality was higher, which I do now. Versus if I were to have 20 pounds of weed and 30 ounces of dabs and it was all shit stuff. I wouldn't care. I don't want that.
Well, and of course I'd recommend you're getting CBD from like a smoke shop over a gas station. But then like we're also saying you can order it online. Like I just told my old roommate in Florida to order, she wanted a vape, and cbdistillery.com has hemp CBD vape cartridges.
We're always putting them on. They need to sign us.
I know. Well, the thing is, like, I don't want to say we're putting people on. We're just saying that these are the products that we use and we agree with and we like what they're doing. So why not?
There we go. Love it. Because we will not talk about anybody or quote unquote put people on if we didn't agree with their mission statement. We would never advertise to use something that we wouldn't use or fully believe in. So we are genuine and we're always going to be like that. We know other podcasts that get sponsored by other companies and stuff, and it's not good stuff. I know they don't even use the product, but yet they advertise for it.
That's what I'm saying. So, it's just same when you see celebrities and they're like, sugar bear gummies, eat these, it makes my hair grow longer. I'm Kylie Jenner. It's like, you do not, your hair is fake most of the time.
Right.
Like, really.
Right. Or these Sketcher whatever shoes.
Yeah.
Do this for me. Yeah, get out of here. You get what you pay for.
I mean, I just want people to like have a good experience, you know? So that's what we're in it for. And, you know, make your own decision.
That's what America's podcast is here for. If you're a stoner or you're the first timer, we want your experience to be the best it can be, because we know how to do it.
My heart's all warm and fuzzy.
We have good experiences. We want y'all to. It's changed us. It can change you for the better. APC, hashtag it.
Dude, I love it. I wish everyone could come out here and smoke weed in Santa Cruz.
With us, yeah. Speaking of APC, if you know of anybody that does stickers, we want to get some new ones, some cool ones that's like actually cut around the logo. So if you know you got a sticker plug, let us know. We're trying to get a lot. I'm trying to rep the city, man.
Well, and we like to hear about the brands or things that you guys resonate with. If there's people you want us to talk to, more topics you want us to, like we're saying, we want to get an extractor on here. So I really would love to talk to Tony with Blue River, that my friend now works for, and they're doing a lot of great things. And come to find out, I didn't even realize Tony's on episode 1 of Bon Appetit. That, you know,
Wow.
that show's been on for a little while.
A long time. Yeah, that's super cool.
And
That's
then they're opening the pantry, you know, in Bon
Yep.
Appetit where they show all this, and it's saying Blue River terpenes, Blue River extract,
Wow.
Blue River crystalline, CBD.
That's freaking
So
cool, man.
it's wild.
That's cool. So speaking of people that we want to interview soon, I'd like to bring up the list that hopefully we will be having on within the next couple months.
Let's do it.
Puff-
Drum roll.
Drrrr-ba-ba-dum. You can hit your peak if you want to for the drum roll. Drrrr. Okay. PuffCo, the CEO,
I
Roger.
love that. Yep.
Yep. Major Farms and Sticky Fields.
My dogs.
Heck yeah, which I'm actually wearing Zach Major Farms long sleeve t-shirt, hashtag pretty respectable right now.
Which, if like you don't do anything from this episode, go on Instagram and look up their Instagrams. Like you will smile.
Yes, you will.
It's insane. The trees.
It's wild. They're the true OGs. They're
super genuine people too. It's
good
awesome.
people. Yeah, they mean the best and they want the best for the community. And they're really, I guess is a good vocab word, struggling with the new regulations. Everybody is.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, guess what? Too tomorrow, everyone's paying their taxes. All in cannabis. So
wow. Yeah, we'll
that's
see.
pretty crazy.
We'll see the ones who can do it and who can't. Okay, so Major Farms and Sticky Fields, Zach and Jesse, excuse me. Cannabis Escapes. We recently met him at the Emerald Cup, and this is a dope ass dude that does cannabis art. So what I mean by that is
it's like landscapes, like
so
pictures, but cannabis.
with ground up weed. So he's not like painting, he's not like drawing. He is literally making art out of ground up cannabis. So he has a bunch of weed, grinds it up, and makes faces or logos or what have you. Super cool. He's met a lot of people in the industry doing this. He's from Florida. Just a good guy.
We first discovered his art because Big Burn, we used him on his album cover.
Yeah, the Big Pescado. Freaking cool. A great album, by the way. So go look that up. Shout out to the Bay one time, Big Burn.
Hey.
We'll get him on one day. I'm telling you. I guarantee it. Lit House, another farm we met at Emerald Cup. It's a Mendocino County farmer.
Beautiful flower.
Yeah, crazy. And I don't think I think it's indoor. I want to say.
I don't know if it is. It might be, but they had some fire. There was one strain that was crossed with grape pie that looked
Pie face?
ridiculous.
No.
Maybe it was pie face. I don't remember.
Another person being Todd McCormick.
Yep.
A person, I saw a meme, I'm sure you saw the meme as well, that said kids back nowadays don't know what it's like to hide their weed and do all this kind of stuff. Now they just hit a vape pen out in public and it's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea. So speaking of having no idea, this guy has been through it. He's been through it all. He's been locked up. He's been all because of marijuana and cannabis, but he's a huge activist. This guy really knows his stuff, so really excited.
He knows the Jack Herrera.
Yeah, yep.
He's produced Netflix. If you've seen Culture High on Netflix, he's helped produce that film.
So true OG. He's up in the Oakland Hills. We're
Yeah.
gonna go up to him and record soon. Love to have Ed Rosenthal on again. He was actually our centerpiece for the Purple Lotus Patient Center episodes, which were 22 and 23. And we had some technical issues with our computer, so we lost that episode. That's so disheartening.
Well, we do have audio from the Purple Lotus video. But yeah, I would love to get him on again and talk.
Yeah, another OG in the
Because
game.
we didn't have too much time with him either, so we really want to.
Yeah, we barely scraped the surface. We weren't able to go deep with him at all. But we had some cool conversation with him that I'll never forget. OG. Santa Cruz Veterans Alliance Part 2. So I'd like to get the growing guys, if we can go out to them and where their grow facility is and talk to the guys that grow. So we talked to a couple of guys from Santa Cruz Veterans Alliance already. And we need to get the other half. So Nikki Freed, which is the new commissioner of agriculture in Florida, and she's making it possible to have your medical marijuana card and your concealed weapons permit.
Wow.
Which no other state has done. So that's really freaking cool.
And a woman.
Yes. Yep. So I would love to have her on the podcast. I've actually already listened to a podcast with her on another marijuana podcast, and definitely have some more in-depth questions to ask her. So pretty excited. 710 Labs. we've been wanting to get an extractor, and I think we could definitely get 710 Labs on. They're Oakland based as well. Fire ass extraction stuff.
My favorite dabs.
What's their specialty? Consistency.
I mean, honestly,
They have them all.
they master all of it.
Damn. That's
so
if Ray says
it really
dude.
it really depends on your preference. Like I'm saying, I mean, you can't go wrong with any of their things. It's just more at that point of what you like.
Gotcha. And like what your dab rig's set up to do and shit. Yeah, gotcha. If Ray approves it, dude, I'm telling you.
Ray approved.
Then it's top of the line. And if it's top of the line, that means you're getting it first, because the Bay Area is
for real
the pioneers of this crap.
Fun fact, and Roger, CEO of PuffCo, gave me 710 Labs.
Hey,
which is hilarious because the strain he gave me was called Shire. And I guess Shire is like Lord of the Rings. Like, I don't know what, like, it reminds me of like knights and Shire. Like, I don't know why.
That's cool.
It has some correlation with like Lord of the Rings.
Huh, okay.
But I remember I was on one of Roger's lives one time, and he had mentioned something about Shire. And I, in the comments, was like, is that like the consistency or the strain? Because I was like, is it batter or this or that? Like, I was like, oh, Shire, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then I just like found out it was the strain. I was like, what a dumbass question. But it was like so ironic that was the strain he gave me.
That's crazy. I
was like, Shire, it like really has meaning now.
That's so freaking cool. That's
I still
trippy.
have the box that he gave me because it just was like such a special moment. I was like,
oh, yeah.
I would have never thought. Like, it was just so cool.
Oh, wow. Now that I'm thinking of it, you should have had him autograph your peak. Damn.
Wow.
And like a silver
Gosh,
Sharpie.
darn it.
That would have been sick.
I'm going to get him to autograph it when he's on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
He'll be back in the Bay.
That would be super cool.
Because 710's here.
Yeah.
And they're homies.
That just blows my mind that, like, what happened?
I don't know.
Maybe like we had the max.
Maybe it goes so long.
We're at 55 minutes, so maybe it's an hour. Yeah, redo it. Like share that, and then let's keep on going. Sorry, we're actually doing an Instagram live right now. And this, by the way, this episode will be unedited. So it's pretty cool that we can actually have a conversation flow like this. So I love it. I'm very blessed to have another co-host that vibes just as well as we do. So
our live just cut off. We're thinking maybe there's a maximum time.
So yeah.
So you didn't miss anything.
I think it's trippy that the fact that the CEO of PuffCo, which first of all, if you have a PuffCo, I'm sure 1% of PuffCo owners have actually met the owner of that, and then for him to actually give you a cannabis.
It was just such a cool moment.
A cannabis
because
product.
It's one of those things that you're like, I've always dreamed of, but you never think would happen. And it sounds so lame, but I just love dabs so much that it just like really, it was just such a special moment. It really was.
Just bring it a little closer. Yeah, that's so freaking cool. Massachusetts. They're what? They made 24 million in the past 2 months. Sorry to randomly switch the topics. I was just thinking of it.
Yeah, no, that was just a cool piece of news that we did see today, was that Massachusetts already 24 million,
in revenue
in
Holy
2 months.
Holy moly! Now, let me be devil's advocate. Not with Massachusetts, but with the growth of that state versus the restriction and non-growth of California. California was expected to be the biggest cannabis market in 2019 or 2018, which it has, but it's not hitting its numbers at all.
Because it's literally the Wild West. They have to overcome so many obstacles throughout the way.
Well, negative, not for my opinion. My opinion is the regulations that they're putting on not only the farms, but the dispensaries, the packaging, everything, all these freaking regulations and compliance issues. It's really choking everybody down to the people that just really want to barely be legal if you're a grower, or if you're a big time dispensary and you're trying to be the Walmart dispensaries. Everybody is having an extremely tough time with these regulations. Let me give you an example.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. Well,
like the obstacles being the regulations, exactly, because imagine they say, oh, we're going to have a 5-panel pesticide test and you grow all your weed and you think you're straight. And then they go, oh, we just updated it. Now it's going to be a 25-panel test. It's like, well, now I'm screwed.
Yeah. So they've had 3 phases. I think they're going to their 4th phase right now for testing and packaging. and it's almost unreal of what they're asking and the turnaround times, and it's just so hard. We're gonna get the in-depth specifics about this, especially with Jesse and Zach from Major Fields and Sticky Farms, about how it really is restricting.
Wait, I think you just said Major Fields and Sticky Farms.
I think I did. That's funny as hell.
That'd be a cool collab.
Yeah, hell yeah, damn, that would. So
Major Fields.
Major Fields and Sticky. Damn, we need to tell them about that. We're gonna
be like Austin's high ass, like scrambled both y'all's names together. And it actually sounded fire.
You know what's funny is I'm not even high right now, but that's great. We should, when we're interviewing with them, we should get both of their tree, mix it up, and be like, yo, we're smoking some Major Sticky and some Sticky Farm, or
Major Fields and Sticky Farms.
Hell yeah, there we go. That's what we're gonna be doing.
Hell yeah.
But we're gonna get the really in-depth look and behind-the-scenes look of how restrictive it really is. For something that's we're supposed to be raking in all these taxes and shit, I'll tell you the truth, I haven't been to a dispensary to purchase in a long time. A long freaking time because of the taxes.
I mean, I don't buy flour, but I buy dabs.
Yeah, I'm just lucky that obviously I'm able to grow at home and whatnot, but it's just unreal. I mean, you go in to buy the cheapest eighth, which is gonna be $30, and then out the door it's gonna be $44 because of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really just not getting. I mean, your supply and demand. It's wild. It's wild. You're forcing the black market to increase so much, and let's not even call it black market. Let's call it traditional market, the old school market.
That's a good name.
You know who I got that from is Jesse from Sticky Fields. So the traditional market is growing ever so much because no one wants to go to the dispensary. They're still looking at it from homeboy around the corner that you got to text and randomly meet up. It's just like...
Well, how else do you think it's been in existence? You know what I mean?
Correct. But it would be... I mean, I used to go to the dispensary so much in 2017 when it was like gray market because the taxes weren't bad. And you're getting the best product. And you get 20 available strains when you go to Joe Blow and you're only getting 1 or 2. So it's just like, if they were to lower the taxes a little bit and compromise with everybody, it would just make everybody win. It really would.
I think we'll get there. I think they're just trying to make it super tight at the beginning and loosen it as opposed to making it loose and then having to tighten it back up.
Agreed. Agree where they're
but
coming from.
It's a pain in the ass, I'm sure, for the farm.
There's an easier way to do it, and I think we need to have less business.
Like what, though?
I can't tell you exactly
because
right now.
Is also, like, I know it's recreational, but it is still, a medicine. So, like, I mean, they list all that kind of stuff on medicine, too, I'm sure.
I agree. I think ultimately, I can't tell you specifics on how it should be better, but let me tell you this. I think there should be less business people making these regulation and compliance rules, and we need to have more cannabis people that have actually done this shit for years in the board meetings, like to say, hey, this is a little too much. Hey, this testing is a little too far. There's not even testers that can do this. There's just too much.
Because you're right, the business people, they don't know.
They don't know. They have no idea. So like,
they're like, oh yeah, we got to go test it, this and that. And like you're saying, they're like, they don't even test for that.
Yeah, exactly. There just needs to be some more wisdom in the business decisions that are made. So I think we need a little bit more cannabis people involved in that process and less business people.
Well, or we need more people that smoke cannabis in those business positions.
Yeah. But if they don't have the knowledge of like the testing and the packaging of it.
Yeah, true.
So it's crazy. And speaking of that, I think it's time to smoke. So on my Instagram, guys, this is Austin talking, obviously.
I can never read your clock because it's military time. I'm like, what time is it?
1937. It is 7:37. So on my Instagram, Perform Higher, and Ray is Broccoli Bay 420. I did a little skit, a little video about hemp wick, and I'm using the hemp wick right now.
I was gonna say I brought my lighter out because that's probably the last bit of hemp wick that's even in this house right now.
It is not good. We gotta order some more. Here we go. I'm smoking.
We can just skate to the smoke shop.
So I'm smoking some...
boosted boards.
What's the tree that I'm smoking?
That's your purple punch, and then it has a F-ton of keef from my grinder on the top of it.
Yeah, a lot of keef.
Like half the bowl is keef.
Wish me luck, baby.
I'm hitting the peak, man.
Fire in the hole, guys. Hopefully y'all are smoking with us. If you're not, It's okay.
I always make fun of Austin because he does that little inhale. He like gets the smoke in his mouth and goes.
I'm just trying to make sure I get all
No,
the
that's
air.
okay. It's funny.
Oh, yeah. That was a nice little rip right there, baby. Woo. Oh, I've also been taking tolerance breaks, guys, but I'll talk about that in the next
That's
episode.
the other fun thing Austin and I have been doing is riding the boosted boards, which is electric skateboards. If you've seen the scooters, it's even better.
It is even better. It's literally like urban surfing. It's sweet. A term my Hawaiian buddy made up, so shouts out to him. Okay, last few things being the 420 Fitness Challenge. And that was by Stigma Activewear, which we've had on before. Our episode, I think, was 4 or 5 with them. Actually, our first interview with somebody, which is crazy. I remember being like nervous, like so nervous. And now I'm like, I'm ready. Like just to interview people, I'm ready. I'm excited. So nervousness and excitement is the same emotion to our brain. It's just how we perceive it, by the way. So anyways, they had the hashtag 420 Fitness Challenge, which, you know me, I'm all fucking about that. So they had America's Podcast, RX Mary Jane, and then another company sponsored them in this. And it's basically, it was a week-long fitness challenge, and you just showed how you were active or working out or doing whatever. We had people tag us in when they're snowboarding or doing yoga or lifting or doing outdoor workouts or just walking, doing park stuff. So it was really cool. It was neat to see all the cannabis users in the community get together and show how they're active. And Stigma Activewear, obviously being an activewear company, they're killing it. I love it. I love their products. I mean, like I said, we aren't going to rep anyone we don't believe fully 100% in their product and love. And they're a product that we love.
We've been saying that since day one.
100%. So shout out to Nicole and Anthony killing it over there. But yeah, we had a great turnout for the 420 Fitness Challenge on Instagram, and we look forward to more. That's for sure. We also should get a beach cleanup done. I'd love to do that. That was so much fun.
All we got to do is hit up Big Peach Treats.
Yeah. We should do a thing. I Heart Jane, all of them. That'd be huge. Space Coyote. So this, I would go grab it right now, but I'll show you after. But it is it's a joint with hash in it, mixed in. And it's, I think, a full gram joint or more, and it gets you to the moon. I mean, it is called Space Coyote because you'd be howling at the moon, boy, after you smoke it. But I went to Ray, unfortunately, she had work. But I went to this, basically they had a private event, but it was really cool just meeting other people in the industry. And we're going to have Space Coyote on. They're a great couple, and they're doing the right thing, and they're just making this brand organically here in the Bay Area. So it's cool to have another Bay Area product. So yeah, I'm pretty excited.
And like I said, I've been smoking the water hash, so I'm about the hashish life.
Yes, and speaking of that, they have...
This is Nasha hash. I don't know exactly what that is, but...
A super old school method. They've been doing this for thousands of years. So yeah, I can't wait to have them on because they're going to blow your brains about how they have their hash
It reminds me of Swami Select and the guy you met.
Yep, super
Well,
OG.
I met him too at Emerald Cup, but you've been to his farm, right? Or something?
I haven't. My company has, but I have not, unfortunately. Which is funny you say that because I delivered some stuff for him today.
Did you want to get him on maybe too?
I'd love to.
I think he said he would.
He did. Yeah, him and his partner Nikki, which they're up in the mountains. They're hard to get a hold of, but they said yes. So
it reminds me of Space Coyote because how you said Swami grows his weed. It's sun, moon, and star grown. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like literally on his package.
You know us girls, we love the stars and horoscopes and.
Yeah. I saw another meme the other day. It's cool. Like, Susan, don't blame your scores hoper. Excuse me. Let me say this again.
We're high.
It said, yeah, I'm high. Fuck. It said, Susan, don't make an excuse for your Scorpio being the reason you're a bitch. You're just a bitch. I was dying, dude. People do use that as like a crutch. Like, no, like not everybody is like that. First off, I love it. Believe me, I feel like my little horoscope thing is very close to how I am.
I know it
Aries,
is.
shout out Aries, by the way.
Leo gang.
Okay, whole lotta. Do you have anything else you'd like to address?
Well, I'm kind of nervous to go to Tahoe this weekend because of the snowstorm and stuff, and it being an Antarctic temperature. I can't even talk. Damn. As cold as Antarctica, not by us, but like in America right now, and freaking like Michigan, like 19 inches of snow in like a minute or something.
Wow. Oh my Lord. I was tripping about that video that you showed me. That was somebody.
It was Michigan.
Oh my goodness. It was Chicago. JT showed us this. And there was a hot cup of water, and they opened their window to outside, and they threw it, and it instantly like turned into like freaking snow. It was wild because it's like -20, -30 there. Oh my gosh.
So we're going to be shredding it in Tahoe, y'all.
We cry when it gets below 50. Jeez. Man, that was way tougher than I am when I was in the Marine Corps. I tell you. I'm still tough, though. I get it done. Alrighty, y'all. We love you. If there's any way we can help y'all out, that's what we're here for. This is why we had this podcast. We are the best cannabis podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere.
America's podcast.
We high, we out. Anyway, you can hit us up. America's Podcast on Instagram, on Twitter. info@americaspodcast.com.
We don't even really tweet.
We don't tweet. If you're
we have Twitter though.
If you're a cannabis person and want to control our Twitter, apply. info@americaspodcast.com. For real, I'm not kidding. All right, y'all. We high, we out.
Mern in, mern out.